Going, everybody? Hey, it is ccmmagazine.com live, and my name is Marcus. It is so good to see you. It's Thursday. We're finishing out week 3. It's been a good week. If you guys missed our time with Barry Blair last night, you've got to go check that out on the ccmmagazine.com page. We archive all of these episodes there. We're having a great time. We're going to do something a little bit different today. Instead of, having someone like here right now, Pat Barrett, who you guys know from Housefires, he has released a solo album. And you know him from co-writing Good Good Father, great song. His availability was such that I had to talk to him early in the morning one day. But nobody's seen this anywhere. I'm going to be watching your comments the whole time. This is good stuff. If you guys do not know Pat, what a cool guy, what an awesome story, and he really encouraged me, and I hope he'll encourage you guys too. So here's the deal. You gotta scroll down. If you're on your phone, you probably are. Hit share. I think you scroll down. Maybe just hit share and then scroll down. So find some people that can come to the party to find out a little bit more about some Christian music. You can even tag them in the comments, whatever you want to do. So we're here 3 days a week. This time, that's 8 on the East Coast, 5 on the West Coast, 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we've got some cool stuff coming up next week. Look for that on the ccmmagazine.com live with Marcus Facebook page or on the CCM Magazine page. So I don't want to, take any more time because this is such a sweet interview, and I hope you enjoy it. Here's Pat Barrett. See you guys.
We're doing.
So Pat, have you lived in Georgia all your life? Is that where you're from?
Yep. Grew up in an eastern suburb, so kind of near Stone Mountain.
Okay,
which,
yeah.
Stone Mountain's a great reference point for people because it's the largest piece of granite in the world.
That's right.
And what do we do in Georgia on Friday nights? Shine lasers on it.
That's right. That's awesome. I had Jamie Grace on this program recently, and that's where she's from. She's from Stone Mountain.
Yeah.
Area.
I think I knew that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I am actually a Georgia born boy as well. I'm from Dalton, though, northwest corner.
Oh, dude, the carpet capital. Come on.
You know it, man. You know it.
Oh, I know it well. Are you kidding me?
That's awesome. It's awesome. That's where everyone has to drive through to get to Nashville, right?
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, Pat, you, we know you from the songs you've been writing, from Housefires, but tell us sort of how you got started. I don't know your origin story as far as leading worship and music and all that stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. So I grew up, my dad's a pastor in Atlanta. We grew up in this small, non-denominational church. So, I grew up, as far as I can remember, I was at, every church function growing up, women's breakfast. I was there, that type of thing. So, and I remember, music early on. I've always drawn to it, but it wasn't until probably, high school range where I made a decision. I remember going to a youth retreat, and someone was preaching out of the Message Bible. And I, of course, like pastor's kid, I grew up with the scriptures. I'm familiar with up to that point in my life. Yeah. But really, I felt like I heard scripture for the first time in my own language. And me and a whole group of friends in my high school gave our life to God and basically said our own yes. Up to that point, you reach a decision in your life where you don't just inherit your parents' faith, and you make a decision for yourself. So it was kind of around that time where I basically had the prayer in my heart, and I also had friends around me that had similar music interests, and it really was we play music. God, I wonder if he would be able to use this, and never having a thought in my mind that years down the road, you would, I look back and I just see the leading of the Spirit through it. But at the time, it doesn't feel like that. At the time, it just feels like a guess. You're like, hey, I'm passionate about this. So So that was really the beginning of it. I was in a worship band called Unhindered, um, and that was with friends from high school. Did that really through college. Um, Went to the University of Georgia. I was like a full-time student and full-time leading worship on the weekends.
Wow.
So took Tuesday, Thursday classes. I mean, just nuts. Like the
Yeah.
schedule's nuts. But it was also kind of during that time where I was like, wow, I really love this. I feel like I'm in the lane I'm supposed to be in. And I started asking the questions of like, I know no matter what, music will be a part of my life. But man, if I keep writing songs, I feel like every time I'm writing, every time I'm leading, I'm tapping into something that um, continues to give me life. And I just feel that yes on, the mysterious yes in your
Yeah.
knower. And so I just kind of stayed with it. And I've been at a church in Atlanta forever. It's called Grace Midtown in Atlanta, Georgia. Housefires, that worship expression, birthed out of that. And then now doing a solo record, which I can't even believe I'm saying that out
Yeah,
loud.
I
Like,
know. It's awesome.
solo record, like not, that wasn't like a eventual goal. Like that wasn't the plan.
Yeah, that's awesome. Grace Midtown. So that's your church, and House Fires came out of that. Um, what? How did you know that something was really starting to happen, like with this? I mean, spontaneous worship movement. Like, I mean, talk about, for those who don't know, how House Fires even started.
Yeah. Um, I mean, it started as simply as writing songs that we felt like were important to us, like the songs that you'd sing, and you're like, wow, something just connected with me.
Yeah.
And House Fires was our way of just sharing it. Not again, it wasn't like a slick like plan, like, oh, this is what it's going to be this and then this and this and this and then this project. It wasn't build a plane as it flies, which is such a bad idea. Um, and but what I do remember above anything is when the heart of it really was just like these songs and this, communal worship expression has been so meaningful to us. And I think part of that for us personally as a community in our church, like it's kind of the way we're organized, like, Sunday services and then house churches during the week.
Yeah.
But it was the idea that expression and worship didn't isn't synonymous with perfection and polish.
Yeah.
And there was something about these recordings for us that it just kind of is what it is. Like I get it. I can't even listen to all the songs all the way through. They're 10 minutes long. I mean, who has even time for that? But
Yes.
but there's something true to life about that. Most of my life is not polished. 99.9% of life is not happening in 3-minute
That's right.
auto-tuned Photoshop sessions. None
Yeah.
of life looks
Yeah.
like that.
That's right.
And so I think there's a texture to communal worship that has the sound of humanness.
Mm.
It's pitchy. It's long at times. It's
Vulnerable.
it's vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not even like, and the goal of it isn't to sell records. It's not to do that. The goal of it is to share something meaningful, and to have hopefully a real moment can translate past the moment that it's in to someone else. So that was really the prayer. I was like,
I love that.
let's just see if anyone connects with it.
How did that change what Sunday mornings looked like at your church? I mean, how did they feed each other?
Right. Well, now our Sunday, the way it's kind of even set up in the room, it's in the round.
Okay.
So which that communicates something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it communicates that we're all in this together. It's not already, it's not going to sound as good. Like if someone's sitting right next to the drummer, that's about all you're going to hear, right?
Yep. Yeah.
But there's something amazing about worshiping together and being able to see the faces of other people.
Yeah.
And it kind of gets rid of the aesthetic of performance, and it really encourages participation.
Yeah.
And it also forced us, like, you can't just play music that's like screaming loud and just like, sound assault.
Yeah, right.
Like it
Yeah,
really like
it wouldn't work.
encouraged the more organic, side of things, which I've loved that.
And it would kind of make me hungry for donuts. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Duh. I mean, easy segue. Like, hello.
I mean, if you haven't thought of that yet, it might be time.
Oh, I have every day.
So Good Father, of course, breaks out of Housefires. It becomes this global thing. I mean, at what point did you realize, again, Lord, you're doing something with this song? Like, at what point were you like something's happening?
Yeah, when did I remember? Actually, it's funny, when I think about that song, I think about literally this room that I'm in right now. This is like the front room of my house, and I'm looking at the spot on the ground. Like, I was on my knees right there writing I've heard 1,000 stories of what they think you're like. Like, that's actually what I think about when I think about the song. It wasn't, you, as a songwriter, you always have the hope and the prayer that something can be as helpful for somebody else as it was for you. Mm-hmm. And truly, man, when I think about that song, I think about when I needed it for myself.
Yeah.
And then the very next Sunday, I mean, Tony Brown, the other writer on it too, would tell you the same thing. Like, the next Sunday when we played it, it was other people in our own community. Again, our own community. This is like all that's been thought about. It was doing the same thing or a similar thing with them as it was for me personally. And what was interesting too is that I had people come up and say, I didn't have a great relationship with my father, and this song is helping me see God differently. I had a great relationship with my dad, so it wasn't like someone else was having experience with this song, like experiencing healing from God in a way that I didn't personally.
Yeah.
And that's when I think then I started to realize, like, not even just with that song, but the power of meaning and connection for people when they're expressing their heart to God is like the way something helps you connect with God. Maybe someone else it's similar, but it's different because their story is different. Their circumstances are different. Their present life struggles are different. So, but I remember, I mean, it was just a YouTube video. So when I was starting to realize, like, wow, people are like really sharing this, and it was just so humbling. Like, I've written plenty of songs no one's cared about. I mean, hello, vast majority of any song I've ever written, no one's cared. And when Tomlin called about it, it was, for me personally, like, he's just been such an influence in my life from afar, like as a worship leader, as a songwriter, so that was like, I was just so excited that someone that I've looked up to, he could write his own songs. Like, I mean, he doesn't need another song. Yeah. Though I'd love to write his whole record for him if he'd let me.
Yeah.
There was something about that when it was someone else's, when other people were like, you know what, I connect with this song enough that I'd love to do it. Yeah. That was really cool.
Do you have any idea of how many, like out on Spotify or something like that, how many different covers of it there are? I mean, has anyone ever told you? They're like, yeah, there's 75, covers.
I don't know. I know that I started to see covers happening, and then I don't know the number, to be honest. But God, it blows me away. It's just amazing.
The song's now platinum, and that is that news just broke, I think, last week or a couple weeks ago, and that's crazy. Like, especially in times of music being as weird as it is sometimes, to have not just
Right.
a Christian song, a worship song go platinum. I mean, another one of those things where you're probably like, I had no idea this was even possible.
No
I mean,
clue. No
what was that
idea.
phone
No
call?
clue. That was actually, I was told like we were presenting this new album in Nashville um, with the label and with Chris, and they told me there. And I remember, man, I actually got emotional about it because for me, it represents however, over 1 million downloads and views,
Yeah,
like that many people encountering God in a way that is healthy and formative. Like that's the part that blows my mind. Like, um, and I'm so thankful that and humbled that I even got a chance to
that's
be a
awesome.
part of like their story in that way. Like that's crazy.
Well, it's like,
That's crazy.
well, yeah. I mean, what I hear you even saying is like, the song's about the heart of God and the
Yeah.
Father's heart, and how it reaches people in such different ways. Like for you, it wasn't about a
Right.
healing from a father wound or something like that, and for others, that's the power of a transcendent song. It's awesome. Um, with Chris though, him calling you up, working together. Now you're on his an Imprint, his label. Talk
Right.
about that
Right.
relationship and how it's grown and developed.
Yeah. I mean, when I first said out loud a couple of years ago, I'm going to do a solo record, um, and couldn't believe I heard it come out of my mouth. It was really my wife who encouraged me to do it. I
Yeah,
asked her, like, babe, what are the next steps do
that's
you
a
think for me
that's a
if like
great
you tell me
measure.
what to do?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I know. Like if you ever
seriously,
want to know what you should do, ask your wife
that's
or
right.
your spouse
Yep,
and see what they say. Because normally, I'm hindsight's 2020, but spouse sight is like 10-10.
that's right.
Um,
It's instant.
and I remember saying it, and then getting a call because I was trying to figure out, there's the practical next steps after you say like I'm going to do a project, but you don't have the songs,
Yeah,
you haven't even gotten to that point yet. As I was chatting with Chris, he told me, he's like, man, I'm thinking about doing this Imprint label, and it's the beginning stages of it. I don't even fully know how it could all work, but is that something that, I mean, what do you think about that? And I just remember having that conversation, being, oh man, that would be amazing. That would
yeah,
be amazing. And it really was from the song to the children's book, and then to to release music and write and to be a part of that label. It really was like the most unforced, you know, in the best way, relational stepping stones, I guess, to,
yeah.
to what to what's happening right now. And the process was awesome. Like so many songs written for this record, and Chris has been an amazing guiding voice through that whole thing. And obviously, you can imagine just a well of wisdom and experience
Yeah.
with it. So
He's in
um,
Atlanta too, right? Is he still there?
he was in Atlanta. He's in
Oh,
Nashville
he is in
now.
Nashville now.
He's Yep,
Just
yep.
missed
He's
him.
moved. Everybody's leaving me.
Come on.
Everyone's leaving.
Atlanta is like close enough to Nashville without having to be sucked in, like
Exactly.
still get
Yeah.
to.
Right.
Oh, come on, Chris. With the new solo music, how does it compare stylistically, thematically, all the above to what people know of you from Housefires?
I think this, the music side, like the approach to music, when we were going into the record, we didn't have like, oh, this is gonna be the sound. This is the theme. It wasn't mapped out beforehand like that. So it was almost like a trial and error. You almost know what you don't want it to be before you know exactly what you want
Yeah,
it to be.
right.
And the beginning, the first 2 weeks in the studio were really like that with Ed. There was such an amazing freedom and permission to explore. And um, what was really important to me in all of it is that um, because it's not a live record, and I've kind of only done live records over
Yeah.
the last, God, 8 years. I really wanted there to be a live spirit about it. And so, God, there are songs like we just, 4-minute spontaneous endings that we just left
That's
because
awesome.
that's what happened in the moment in the studio. And um, that was so encouraging. Like the feeling that anything could happen at any time and you could just go with it like that. That spirit is on the record, which I'm so happy about.
It's awesome.
And also, like I did want it to be different. I wanted it to sound different than the Housefires sound. I guess like primarily it means there's an electric guitar. I don't know why Housefires is like, but but we yeah, there's electric on the record. There's
Awesome.
different soundscapes that we use, but really through all of it, we wanted it to feel reminiscent of Housefires, but also have my own creative stamp to it
Yeah.
that we just figured out kind of as we went. Yeah.
Did you approach songwriting similarly to? I mean, do you sit down and go, okay, this is going to be a Pat Barrett solo song. This one's going to be for my church. This one's going to be Housefires, or is it just you write and figure out where it lands?
I just write and figure out where it lands. And I told some of this recently, but with my writing, I mean, for me, it's not always like this, but I would say like 90% of the time, I am at the mercy of the moment. And
Yeah,
I,
it's awesome.
for me, music and faith and expression to God were always like weirdly like blended together. Like I have a hard time separating like moments with God from the songs that were written from it.
Yeah,
So I like there's a song on the record called Into Faith I Go, and it was really a song about making the record and stepping into the new
yeah,
the new thing in life that was going to happen after it was released. And I remember being feeling the fear of change. And so literally the first line of the song is, I've never been good at change,
that's awesome.
which is not even like poetic. It's
Yeah,
just, so
it's
for me, it
honest
was
though.
always like it's always first um, a way for me to connect with God and
Yeah,
connect with myself and connect with other people. And then I really don't even think about where it would land or how it would land until after it's done. Like, again, I had like 55 songs, you know, most of them done, some of them just like fragments. And it wasn't like, I mean, they all won't be heard. They all won't make a record, but really I was asking myself, what are the songs on this that I feel most connected to and feel like the right now songs? Like not
yeah,
what do I think songs that are good, not songs like what do I think are gonna like resonate with people? What songs do I feel the most excited to share, talk about? When I sing them, it feels important to me. And usually those are the things you're most excited to share with other people. The things that have just, I mean, we do the same thing with hilariously like a hamburger. We're like,
that's
dude, you need to try this burger, bro. Um, so I guess I'll call it the hamburger principle. I don't know. I just coined that term.
the
I'm behind the
varsity,
website.
right?
GoDaddy.
Yeah.
Don't try to snipe it. I'm just kidding. Um, so that's really what I thought about. Like I wanted this record to be a list of songs that I had experience with personally, and then every song that's written, I mean, who knows where they'll end. I write kids songs with my kids.
It's awesome.
It's just whatever comes out just kind of happens.
How do you deal with the pressure that either it's internal or external that comes with a platinum song like Good Good Father? I mean, with a massive hit, I hate calling a worship song that, but when it goes platinum, the industry goes, "Ooh, do that again." How do you
Right,
get
right.
out of your how do you fight that? Like how do you get out of your own head or get maybe some of those voices out of your head as you're writing new music?
It's funny, man. I decided so early on that the way I was going to hold songs and projects was going to be open-handed. I don't mean I don't open-handed like I don't care. It's not that. It's
Yeah.
more I recognize the only thing I can control is whether I'm writing songs that feel honest and transparent and connect with me. I can control that.
Yep.
Whether someone else likes it, whether someone else wants to share it, that is so far out of my.
Yes.
Releasing that pressure was healthy. And I think some pressure is really good. Like, I mean, I'm not saying I don't feel pressure. I feel a lot of pressure in life. I got 3 kids. Of course I feel pressure.
Yes. Yep.
I feel pressure to be present, engaging dad. I feel pressure to be a loving husband to Meg. I feel the healthy pressure in songwriting that challenges me to not just say the thing that feels popular, but say the thing
Right.
that feels like it connects and feels really true. Like I put the pressure on those places more than anything else, because when I think about the journey of a song, like all the things, like how that song spread had nothing to do with me, like whether I put pressure on it or not. So I try to put pressure in the healthy places that don't cause anxiety and sleepless nights and gray hairs that just come shooting out of your beard, which they've started on my goatee. I think kid number 3 is when the gray hairs started coming in right. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
How many days growth do you got there?
This is 1.
Okay.
Or maybe this is 2. I don't know why. This summer I was like, I think I'm going like I feel like a baby, like a gentleman and a scholar,
yes.
like a nice
awesome.
young man.
Nice. Awesome. Well, I think that's one of the most important things about songwriting is is it a product or is it something that legitimately ministers to you? Like I've been able to write songs with my church and do that myself, and you're always it's always a wonderful surprise when something you've written ministers directly to you, and it almost puts you outside of the song to where, I mean, yes, you're part of the process, but you can't take as much credit as you maybe people think you should, because it's a gift to you. Like it's something that's ministering to you.
Right.
And that's,
yeah.
And that's it sounds like that's the case with what you write, is stuff that either in that moment or even on an ongoing basis speaks directly to you.
Right. And that's, I think, man, this is probably like, I don't even know if this is worth sharing, but I just remember one of my, like, platinum records was never the goal. Like, I think back to when I was 15 years old and I encountered God through worship. Yeah. And I just remember going like, this, whatever's happening in my heart is worth giving my whole life to. Like, that's what I remember. Yeah. And I think there's always this tender reminder for us to not forget like the first love. Mm-hmm. And you it is possible to not lose that. Yeah. And that's what I don't know, I feel like when that is your heart to please God, you want to help you want to help the world see him differently. And it's truly like, I love God, I love those verses in the Bible that remind you that building your own name doesn't end well. Yeah. Like ever. Right. And I think with songwriting and worship leading, any act of service, because that's really what it is to the world. It's an act of service. And I remember praying this. This is what I was going to say. I remember praying, and I still feel this way. I have a note in my phone saying, of course, I'm doing a new record. I want people to hear the songs, but I also have a hope that it'll fail if it's just adding to the noise. Like I don't think that's helpful to the world to just to add to just things that aren't helping us see God differently in a more healthy way, seeing ourselves, helping us feel more connected to each other in a way that advances the kingdom of God. Like I just, that's not something that want to be a part of. I'd rather just bomb,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's probably not what you're supposed to say when you're putting out a solo record, but
Hey, I mean, but
it's a prayer in my heart. Yeah.
your path is one of non-convention because God's been at the head of it, and
Yeah, I need some more convention. I would love a little more convention.
That's awesome. Well, who did you get to write with for this record, and maybe some new people that it was fun to and inspiring to write with.
Oh yeah, I mean so many. There's okay, I wrote with Chris Tomlin a lot, Jason Ingram, Ed Cash,
Yeah.
Some of the Nashville guys, and then got Brenton Brown. He's on
Awesome.
he's on the record. He's just a great friend. And then I have a group of guys, Ben Smith and Daniel Bashta.
Yes.
Just, best friends in Atlanta we write a lot. We write like every Wednesday when we're in town together. So it's like writing Wednesdays. So a lot of these songs like came out of that time as well.
That's
Stephanie
a powerhouse.
Dressinger.
Man, oh, you're not done.
Oh,
sorry.
Well, I think you're only. Well, no, I mean, I like to think like I've always heard like you're only as good as the company you keep, and I look at the people who have been a part of these songs like, oh my gosh, these are people that have like their writing has inspired me. Like I just feel like lucky enough to kind of be in a room with them. So to have songs that they're a part of and God, it's just been amazing.
That's an all-star group there, and then you've got the Bethelites. You got Amanda and Stephanie. They sang on a song with you. Did they co-write it with you as well?
They did, yeah. They're
Awesome.
on that song as well, and I remember that song specifically thinking like, man, I think Amanda and Steph their voice in this feels really important. So when that song was being written, and when it came time to record it, I was like, I can't even now imagine them not being on it.
Yeah.
So to have them like actually be on the record singing that song with me, and it's just for me, it's like one of the most special moments on it. It's still like when I hear it, I'm so touched by it, and oh man, I love it. I love it. I want more of that. I'm like, should I put them on every song? Like after hearing that one.
Can we form a band,
could you guys just like sing this whole thing? Yeah. Is this a thing now?
Yes, Bethel Fires. It'll be awesome, I think.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
Did you guys tour together for Outcry? Did you guys do that?
We did. Yeah, we did Outcry.
Okay.
We also did we're part of a Bethel. I mean, Housefires did a Bethel tour. I wasn't on that because we were having our third baby Cash. That was a year ago.
That's awesome.
So, traveling and touring right now is that's kind of a crazy thing, especially for my life stage. I still don't even know fully how that works. Like my daughter just finished kindergarten.
Oh wow! Yeah.
My son now, my second born, is going into so we have like a completely new like life schedule, and for us, aside from just music, it really is a time of like the next season as a family together, and from like the most practical aspects of it, like it's really like a new. Everything feels new. There's not one thing that I'm like, oh, that feels the same.
Yeah, and the older they get, the harder it feels to leave because they're aware of your absence.
Oh yeah. So that's the goal. Like I want to have like them come out to be a part of as much as they can when it makes sense. Like Crew, my middle son, came out on one of the stints for the Worship Night in America tour with Tomlin. And I mean, just completely jacked his sleep up. He was up till like 11 p.m. I mean, when he came back home, he was a mess.
Oh yeah.
But together for us, it was like as a family. It feels like what's next is happening as a family together, not just. I mean, this is what Meg and I say. Like, we don't say like, oh, I feel like I'm doing right. Like, we feel like we're putting this record out. Like that's how, for whatever reason, I'm framing life and the way traveling will look, and when it can, that's like kind of the goal.
Yeah, so that leads into the next question, which is what is next with the album coming out? What's surrounding that? What does the rest of summer? What does the rest of 2018 look like as far as you can tell?
It is filled. Well, summer's kind of coming to a close. School starts for the kids on August 1st. So,
What? August
um, I
1st?
I know we have so many. It's our district. I know it's crazy. I'm like, you're four. You're starting on August
What?
1st.
That is messed up.
I
Oh,
know. I know. It's the world's gone astray.
oh.
Um,
It is hot there,
so
though.
it is so
Yeah,
hot.
yeah.
It is so hot here. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's kind of just gives them something to do. But
Yeah.
but we I think what's next is just more writing and really I want to write a bunch this fall. Like, it's funny. I'm not doing anything
Yeah.
differently than I've done. Like, I'm doing the same thing.
Nice.
Um, at my church when I came in on Sunday and I'm in town, like I'm walking my kids to school every day. I'm writing songs during the week. Like, there's literally nothing I'm doing differently with this
It's awesome.
except putting it out under my own name, which just makes it all feel completely new. But as far as like the in and outs, like there'll be some traveling to home and a lot of just writing and I love that. I love this. It feels like now we're finding the rhythm that's kind of right for our family.
And are you writing for other artists? I think I've seen your
Yeah,
name
well,
pop
again, I
up.
kind of just, yeah, yeah, I write all the time. I write, um, I love co-writing with people. I love that side of it, especially just because of the hang. Even if the song's not good, the hang's
Yeah.
worth it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so there's a lot of that as well. And again, like, even when you go into a co-write, you don't know if like, oh, will this song end up being like for me or for you, or sometimes it's like, yeah, your friends writing a record, we'll get together and write.
Yeah.
But I love to do that as much as possible, just even to be in the room with people that are just, I feed off the creative
Yeah.
energy. So
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, like a good laugh, a good hang, talk about the things that are like most important
Yes.
in life and
And
write
worship.
a song about it.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's awesome. Well, how can everybody who's watching be praying for you and your family with this new slash not new season? Like you're
Yeah.
doing a lot of the same
Yeah, I
things, but
think,
there's a lot of new and all the above. How can we all be praying for you?
yeah, I think my, I would love, I would love for my own life the wisdom to say yes and no to the right things. I have a tendency to just get, say yes to everything, just 'cause I'm so excited
Yeah.
about it. I just love it. And the sensitivity to just know when the next step is here, to have the patience to wait and also like the bravery to go when it's time.
Mm.
And I think that for me is huge. The right thing was that for the right thing at the wrong time is the wrong thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's part of this. Like, man, I really am not the guy who's going to put out a record and pray that as I travel 250 days, I get divine, health. Like, I'm not that way. I'm like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just really
You're
want
not doing that.
whatever I do to feel like the yes on it,
Mm.
regardless of what it is. Like, it's not like a opportunistic thing. It's an in sync thing. I want to feel like my family, that we're walking together and we are saying yes to the thing that's next that feels right.
Awesome. Well, those who are watching, it's always a privilege. Like while we have you, we're not just gonna say, "Yeah, we'll be praying for you," and then don't do anything. So we just want to do it now.
Yes, come on.
I'll have you. So let's do it.
Yeah.
Well, God, what an awesome way that you work. What an awesome um, surprise, surprise giving God you are. And I just thank you, Lord, for the path that you have made for Pat. Thank you that you have done things that only you can do for your glory. And so we just pray that as you continue to do that, Lord, that you'd keep Pat and his family just laser focused on your heart, on the things that you're most passionate about, saying yes to the things that will will be for your glory and his good and the good of your church, Lord. We just pray for this new album and that you'd continue to have people have encounters with you through this music, and also, Lord, just pray for protection and for your presence just in the Barrett home, and that you continue to let worship break out in the church there, in Housefires, and really wherever you place Pat, whether it's conversations, co-writes, meetings, whatever it is, God, be present as he, wherever he places his foot. So we thank you for all this and so much more in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Dude, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We should do this every day.
Okay, every day. I think if we did it every day, it would be like therapy or something.
Yeah, I know. I need it. I feel therapized right now. I don't even know if that's a word.
It is now. That's awesome.
Dude, thanks so much, man.
This was such an honor. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll do it again.
Yes, come on.
Man. Blessings.
Love it. Thank you.
See ya. Bye.